Motocross magazine is brought to you on Eurosport by Clarion, car audio and beyond.
Welcome to European Championship Rallycross, and here we are on the banks of the Dramensfjord. And the port of Drammen itself, once very important to the timber industry. Not much happening in that neck of the woods these days. But there's the old customs house. On the north bank of the Dramensfjord, there was a terrible fire in 1866. But on the south bank, we still have some of the original architecture around. And very attractive it is too. Not far away, just 40 kilometers west of Oslo, we find the circuit of Lyngås, called the Lyngås Motorbahn. And as you can see, the weather has deteriorated into something quite dreadful. Meanwhile, Ivan Opland is going to take us around this circuit, which has got a lot more tarmac than a lot of the other circuits. To be precise, it's 60% tarmac and 40% loose, and it's got a lot more ups and downs than a lot of the other circuits too. They head off from the grid straight down this top straight, and you can see it's very slippy, and there's a big steep hill coming down to this long right-hander, and then they're back on the loose again. And quite bumpy too. And in this sort of weather, of course, they're going to be dragging a lot of mud out from that loose section onto the tarmac. And you can see fairly twisty. Then they come up the hill, over the brow of the hill. The car goes very light indeed. They have to control it carefully around the right-hander. And then as they come back into the start-finish straight again, they go through a chicane that they didn't go through. Here we are, when they first left the grid. Slows them down as they come back out onto that top section again, fast and straight. And that's a circuit of the Lyngås Motorbahn. Well, the Division 1 leaderboard looked like this as we came out of round 8, with Ivan Opland in the lead, Gunnar Svan chasing him hard, and Jos Kuipers in a strong position in third. Well, you can see the weather really affecting everything today. Having a lot of problems with the false start equipment, which is what that gentleman is bending down and playing with at the moment. Water getting in there and giving a lot of false start readings. Division 1 second heats is what we're standing by for. Pole position, when we get this bit of technical didgeridoo right, is on the left-hand side of your screen, and holding it is Bernd Leinemann. Alongside him, Henning Solberg, Jan-Willy Nordgaard. In the middle of your picture, on the right, Jack Franzen and Johnny Elenius, and over to Arthur for this second heat.
Thank you, Peter, and I would think most of them are on full-cut races here in these conditions. Some may choose forest tyres, but let's see who gets away first, and it looks as though Jack Franzen has got the Subaru into the lead. Jack Franzen it is who leads this one from Bernd Leinemann. Solberg there in a third place from Nordgaard. Elenius completing the order with the Toyota as they come over the brow, and it is Jack Franzen. It's got the Rainmaker written on the back of Jack Franzen's car, by the way, so maybe he's quite happy at Peter at the moment.
No one's made the Fjord Escort joke yet, Arthur.
Not the Fjord Escort, no. We hope there's no escorts going into fjords. So there's a course car coming around the back of these cars. We'll tell you more about him later in the day, because it's somebody you will know driving that course car around the back. In the meantime, it's Jack Franzen finding the Subaru Impreza very well suited to these conditions. Solberg is way back down there in fourth place. Henning Solberg back in fourth. And the lineman from Germany is Nordgaard there from Norway with the Subaru Legacy, very, very crossed up, ahead of Henning Solberg. And Johnny Elenius completing the order with the Toyota Celica. But it's the Subaru Impreza of Belgian driver Jack Franzen. Bernd Leinemann in second place over the twists and turns of this tortuous circuit. It's really a fast circuit in dry conditions, but in these conditions it is very, very tricky indeed. And remember, these guys, we've told you this before, we'll just remind you once again, in these qualifying heats, they're racing against the clock. And you can see the time ticking away on your screen. And that is the time that's been taken by the lead car, who comes through now to take the checkered flag. And it is indeed Jack Franzen taking that one from Bernd Leinemann. Solberg coming through to take third place. Young Norwegian ahead of Jan-Willy Nordgaard, who drifts very, very wide.
And look at this, the crowd not at all deterred by the appalling weather, but the drivers have got a lot to contend with. And the start, so important here. On pole is Ivan Opland on the left of your screen. Alongside him, Jos Kuipers, who got a bad start. Good start by Opland, Arthur.
Yes, Opland on home territory, and coming with him, fellow Norwegian Ludvig Hunspet into second place. Then the first of the Verkoyen brothers, 3 Dutch drivers and 2 Norwegians. And it's Jos Kuipers coming up into third place now, as the leader gets very, very crossed up here. And the 2 lead cars, the 2 Norwegians, both in troubles, and Ludvig Hunspet spinning right out. But Opland has retained his advantage up front, but only just. And so the familiar pattern now of the 2 Mitsubishi Lancers, 1-2, and the 2 are the top men in the championship then. But on home ground, it's Ivan Opland leading the Netherlands driver and the Netherlands champion in this category for 19 and 95, Jos Kuipers. First of the Verkoyen brothers coming through there, the 2 Verkoyens, Ruud and Nellis Verkoyen from the Netherlands. As they drop down through this, can't really call that a chicane, it's an additional corner really, isn't it, rather than a chicane. And there are the Verkoyen brothers coming through, still chased now by the recovering Ludvig Hunspet. But there we see Opland from Kuipers. It's going to be interesting to see how the Toyotas perform out there in this particular category in these conditions, because of course they are the cars that really are in there challenging these Mitsubishis for the lead in the championship. And you can see now that Opland is getting a long way clear. Opland really pulling out a lot of ground. He really have left Kuipers well behind, and there is the checkered flag and a very easy victory for this man as he comes home in 2:55.59. Well clear there of Jos Kuipers.
Well, what an incident that was when the 2 leading cars went very light and got tangled up coming down that hill, Arthur.
Yeah, and it was lucky that Opland was able to survive that, but no joy there for Ludvig Hunspet, of course.
Well, our next heat, we've got the man who was fastest on Saturday, Stig Olaf Wolfridsson, the Swede, and alongside him Gunnar Kittelsen, the Norwegian. Gunde Svan in the middle. Svein Nielsen is another Norwegian. And on the far right-hand side of your picture, Ingvar Carlsen in the other Toyota. Start so important here, Arthur.
It is, yes. Let's see what the Toyotas can do. And a brilliant start there from the centre of the grid for Gunde Svan, who looks momentarily over his shoulder there to see where the opposition is, because he is going to lead it from his teammate Ingvar Carlsen in second place. There is Nielsen. A bad start for Wolfridsson. But it is the 2 Toyotas coming 1-2 at the moment. And then we've got Nielsen up into third place now, and it's Gunnar Kittelsen who's dropped right to the back, I think. Gunnar Kittelsen right to the back. There is Gunde Svan once again. Really good shots from inside the Toyota here, as the Olympic ski champion really should feel at home in these conditions, I would think, controlling this Toyota superbly well, chased very hard there by his teammate.
Brilliant to just see how... Look how clean his car is, and all the others are absolutely filthy, and that's how important it is being out in front. It must be worth quite a few seconds there.
It must indeed, Peter, but I would call this a weatherproof circuit, really, because although the conditions are very, very wet out there, those drivers are not really being plagued by vision problems. The wash wipe system is working very, very well. They don't seem to be getting too dirty, the car behind, obviously not as clean as the one in front, but it is a clean-cut decision here at the moment for the 2 Toyotas. Wolfridsson right at the back there. I will remind you that he is one of the younger brothers of a former European champion, Per Ing Wolfridsson, who won the European Championship many years ago, driving a Volvo. So it's nice to see the Wolfridsson family back into the sport and going so very well indeed. But at the moment, dominated by the 2 Toyotas. Gunde Svan leads this one from Ingvar Carlsen. Where are you? He looks over his shoulder once again as he goes on his way, really controlling this one from the front. And Gunde Svan it is. You can still see there in third place. I think up into third place now may have come the old boy from Oslo there, Gunnar Kittelsen, I think, up into third place now. Gunnar closing a bit now on the 2 Toyotas, putting in a good drive there in third place, closing on those 2 Toyotas as they come around. You can see this very, very close up front. Still Gunde Svan from Ingvar Carlsen, with Gunnar Kittelsen getting right in there as well now. Sven Nielsen, the under-financed, very talented young Norwegian, is down there in fifth place, just ahead of Wolfridsson. But up front, the Toyotas are really fighting and keeping the escort at bay, and Gunnar Kittelsen looking very, very strong there in third place as they come through once again to start another lap. And it is still Gunde Svan from Ingvar Carlsen, and it's good to see Kittelsen going well, Peter, isn't it?
Well, after that first lap, there was such a big gap between the Toyotas and the rest of the field. I wouldn't have thought in these conditions he could have made it up, but he certainly did come back into contention. I don't know whether that's the Toyota slowing down just a fraction to make sure of their lead. I thought there was going to be a change up front there.
Yeah, it's almost a formation team at the moment here from the Toyotas, isn't it? They're literally side by side. Carlson looking for a way past his teammate, but Gundersvan, I think, is going to take this one. They're on their last lap, and it's Gundersvan still leading this one, and Kettleson again clawing his way back in as they come up over the hill once again. It is still Gundersvan with that clean car up front, and Kettleson now really looking for second place as they come to the flag. I don't think he's going to do it. No, he can't. He gets it all wrong in that last corner, but still a very strong third.
Good race with Ingvar.
Yeah, but I have problem on the loose, but it was okay on the tarmac, but on the loose it was very slippery, so I don't have no chance to control it 100% more.
These conditions and this particular track seem to suit the rally drivers.
Yeah, I think so, but I don't know if I am a rally driver.
Anyway, you're looking forward to the finals?
I hope so, and I will hope it will be good and good also.
Good. All the best. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, it's still not so good also for the drivers out on the circuit. There's an awful lot of power got to go down in this division, and it's very wet. Tommy Kristoffersson with most of that power sitting on pole. Per Eklund in the Clarion car alongside him. Our own Will Gollop in the Silkeline Peugeot next in line. And making up the order on the far right of your screen is Martin Iversen.
Yeah, Martin Iversen will be wanting to capitalise on that third place that he got in the Netherlands in the last round of the series. Let's see what he can do here. He makes a very, very good start. Will Gollop makes a fairly tardy one, but it's Tommy Kristoffersson who goes away. Iversen in second place. Eklund is third, with Will Gollop coming up the inside to challenge. Will up the inside to take third place from the Swede, and that's the order as they come down towards us. It is indeed Kristoffersson leading Iversen. Then comes Will Gollop and Per Eklund at the back. Round that right-hander they go. Downhill, and Will Gollop having a look up the inside there for second place, and he's got it. Will Gollop takes second place now, and Iversen dropping back, and Iversen a bit of problems there, bouncing over the curbs, but it's Tommy Kristoffersson now, and Iversen very, very sideways there, nearly nose-diving into the bank. That's allowed Eklund up into third, I think. Yes, it has. There is the recovering Iversen down in fourth place. So the race order beginning to settle down a bit as they come through at the end of lap number one to start lap number two, and Will Gollop now after Tommy Kristoffersson. Well, Peter, in these conditions, I would have said the Peugeot was a more drivable car than that big Audi, but Tommy really is going certainly very, very well indeed.
Well, he got that brilliant start, and that's worth more on these sort of conditions than you can possibly account for. And he's out in front, and as long as he treads it carefully like a pussycat around the corners, he can lay down that power in a straight line.
He can indeed, and Will Gollop still having to settle for second place. Will, incidentally, is using the engine that was taken out in Engelmunster, and they haven't really found the real trouble in Belgium. I know the head gasket was leaking, but he is back with the 2-litre engine. He gave it a brief shakedown at Lytton Hill on August Bank Holiday Monday. Seemed quite happy with it, and he's there in second place now. But as we've said, very quick in the wet, as ever, is Per Eklund. And Per Eklund coming in there with the Impreza in third place now. Iversen is well out of the picture in every sense of the word. Tommy Kristoffersson is very strong up front as the challenge comes for second place, and it's Eklund coming up the outside. He can't do it there, surely. No, Will Gollop back into second place, but now Will is really having to defend that second place, Peter, and that's allowing Tommy to get away again.
Yeah, Eklund was just a little bit wild in the opening stages. He's gained composure, he's got control, and he really is mounting a strong challenge now. But Will Gollop still pushing Kristoffersson in some parts of this circuit.
Yeah, he is, and he's right in there in the spray behind the Audi. And remember, Tommy's got about 700 brake horsepower at his disposal in these conditions, and it's a brave guy who puts his foot down hard on the loud pedal. But we ride here with Per Eklund. Per Eklund, there you can see Will Gollop's car just in front of him. Will goes over the curbs, obligingly puts some soil down on the track in front of Per, but he's not too concerned about that, and there's not much between them, but it's still Tommy Kristoffersson from Will Gollop. Those two lead drivers, neither of whom have had the best of seasons, it has to be said. Tommy Kristoffersson it is, though, still from Will Gollop. Per Eklund in third, and that's the way I think it may be going to stay here at the moment, although Will is beginning to mount pressure once again onto Tommy Kristoffersson, but finding a way past on this part of the circuit is almost impossible, I would think. And as they come through, it is going to be Tommy Kristoffersson taking one of the best races we've seen so far from Will Gollop and Per Eklund.
A great drive by Gollop, though, never giving up and having to try and challenge it forward, but keep his eyes in his rear view mirrors and protect his back end as well. We move on to our next heat now. And here we just have three cars on the grid. Martin Schanche in that prominent yellow. I think we call it yellow. Some people in the paddock call it something else. The false start detector still giving problems in the weather, so we'll have a quick sneak look at the leaderboard for Division 2. Hansen up there, Martin Schanche chasing him hard and fast, and he's very confident about being here in his own home territory. Hansen in the middle of the grid there, and on the right we've got Bjorn Skogstad. Arthur.
3 previous winners this year. It was one of them going to win here today. Was Kenneth Hansen making a very good start. Kenneth Hansen leads away from Martin Schanche. Skogstad in 3rd place. The 2 Norwegians being led by the Swede, the reigning European champion. Kenneth Hansen away then. Martin Schanche fastest in the first qualifying heats, which took place in somewhat better weather conditions yesterday. Not perfect, but better weather conditions. And he completed that first timed run yesterday with only a 2-wheel drive version of this car, because he lost the drive to 2 wheels with a broken prop shaft. He still managed to get the fastest time, but he's not going to get the fastest time at the moment unless he can get by this guy, and that is Kenneth Hansen. Skogstad getting left back a bit there in 3rd place. He really hasn't been able to put a good result together since that win in Portugal. Martin Schanche it is. Martin, of course, remember, sitting on a hat-trick this weekend, winner of the 2 rounds in Belgium and in the Netherlands, and he would, of course, love to win nowhere better than here on his home circuit. Martin, it is, though, still down there in 2nd place. One wonders, Peter, if he's made a wrong choice of tyres here. That could affect it, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Kenneth Hansen is pushing it quite hard. It doesn't look as if he's treading particularly carefully. And I would have expected Schanche to be right up there, pushing him to try and make a mistake, but he just doesn't seem to be able to get the power down.
No, it's very difficult to tell, but if you can try and get a close look at the tyres on Kenneth's car as he comes around here, I would say they were Forest tyres. They look fairly high-profile Forest tyres, I would say, on Kenneth's car, and that might be the success of this one, because he's certainly pulling away from Martin Schanche now. Well clear of Martin. I'm sure they are Forest tyres there on the rally tyres on the car of Kenneth Hansen, in which case it's a very wise choice. I would have thought most of them would go for full cut races on this circuit, because it's a lot of tarmac, and even the loose sections are standing up to the water very, very well. It's not getting sort of like a quagmire out there. And I would have thought that the full cut races would have been the ideal thing, but maybe Kenneth Hansen's decided otherwise. Whatever it is, Kenneth is certainly dominating this race, and the Norwegian guys out there, Schanche and Skogstad, they have no answer to him whatsoever, and Kenneth takes a fine victory with the Citroen ZX.
Well, earlier this weekend, Kenneth wasn't very happy about his tyres and wasn't getting particularly good times, but he certainly put paid to that.
Stone Age. The dawn of a new age. The age of Clarion Car Multimedia. Clarion Car Audio and beyond.
Next time you choose a tire, all we ask is that you remember why. Firestone, the science of safety.
Meet adventure head-on with a hero willing to hang over a 1,000-foot drop, fall beneath the iron wheels of tons of steel, and face the deadly confrontation of nuclear attack. Now, adventure has a new commander, Steven Seagal, Under Siege 2.
Boxing on Eurosport.
The NABF Heavyweight Championships, Zolkin versus Tubbs, this evening, 11 p.m. on Eurosport.
Welcome back to Norway for European Championship Rallycross. Bit of a wet old time we're having here at the Lyngås Motorbahn. Gunde Svan, the Swede, is on pole position in the immaculate Toyota after a brilliant drive last time out. Alongside him, the Dutchman Kuipers. Then another Swede, Wolfridsson, in the middle of it. The German lineman to the right, and then the Norwegian Nielsen on the far right-hand side. Let's see if Gundersvan can repeat his storming drive in the second heat, Arthur.
Yes, they keep the covers over those timing beam sensors to the very last moment. Make sure the rain doesn't get in, and as the lights are flashing red, we have had a jump start from somebody. So they're going to have to go back and do it all over again. And having got them relined, now let's just take a look at this. This is a replay of the situation, and it looks as though Kuipers might have been the guilty party there.
Mr. Kuipers, it looked like to me. Very eager to get in front of Gundersvan, because that's where the advantage lies. So they really do the business, these false start detectors, don't they?
They do indeed, yeah, and it's a British invention, would you believe, or at least the British originated it at Croft Circuit.
Well, it should be able to handle the rain then, shouldn't it?
Yes, it should indeed. And let's see if Svan can repeat his form of a little earlier on the second runs. If he can do very well on third runs, he's in for a good grip position in the finals. We've got a green light this time, and who is it going to be? It looks like Wolfridsson is edged ahead. Oh, Wolfridsson's edged ahead. He's come right across the bows of Kuipers, and very, very lucky indeed that everybody is still going there. We can see Nielsen has lost his rear bumper in the course of all of that, but it's Wolfridsson who leads it well. Peter, that was a fairly eventful start, to say the very least.
I think it was impetuousness by the Swedish driver Wolfridsson, and he's really showed it coming down the hill. He was all over the place, but he's out there to prove a point to Gundersvan, I think.
Yes, we've not seen this young man in the European Championship before. Remember, he got fastest time in qualifying on the Saturday yesterday. If he can get the fastest time on these third and final wet heats, he's going to sit on pole for the A final in his first ever encounter in the European Championship. And certainly the younger brother of the former European champion, Per Inge Wolfridsson, is certainly showing us how it should be done here at the moment, or perhaps not how it should be done off the start line, but certainly how it should be done as they go on their way. We can see that also Lineman incurred a bit of damage at the start of that race with the wing of the car a little bit damaged, bits hanging off there. Still the bumper trailing on Sven Nielsen's car. And this is Gundersvan looking to see if he can get with our race leader, but Wolfridsson having gotten away in front, he's certainly capitalising upon that. And Svan at the moment is having to settle for second place, and it's proving to be a fairly hard weekend for Jos Kuipers, the young Dutchman. He's certainly really not up at the forefront at the moment. Down there, trailing a long way back in third place with Nielsen not that far behind him. Looks so cool, calm and collected, that guy, Peter.
I think he's whistling a little song while he's driving around.
I think he is. I don't think these guys are whistling a little song. They're cursing somebody, I think, for that start line incident, and maybe it's Wolfridsson who is now being closed upon by Gundersvan. Still Kuipers in third place, still that tail-end battle, and for Bernd Lineman, of course, this is a really, really hard season. Runner-up to Richard Hutton last year, and well, he's going to be a long way down the order this year, I think. He really can't get in there, and the Escort's really feeling the challenge this year from these Japanese machines, and it is still this new boy, which we thought two Mitsubishis were bad enough, but now we've got a third one in there, and as they go on their way, on their last lap, this young man is certainly, who has been something of a sensation, it has to be said, in the Swedish Championship this year. He's certainly looking as though the Scandinavians have found yet more talent, but Gundersvan coming up to have a look. Very, very sideways under braking there, and having to settle once again for that second place. Kuipers may be getting a touch closer. Wolfridsson going very wide, leaving the door open for Gundersvan, but Svan wasn't close enough to capitalise upon it, and although the gap has come down, it looks as though Wolfridsson's going to take this one. There is Gundersvan trying up and down through the gears, finding the gears, swinging right into that last corner, giving it everything, but Wolfridsson is going to take it, I think. Wolfridsson coming through there with Kuipers in third place, then Nielsen hanging on, and Lineman down in fifth.
Well, we look at a replay of that start. The Toyota of Svan got the first tickle, but Wolfridsson actually pulled out in front of Kuipers and then just closed the door on the both of them. And I'm amazed that they managed to avoid taking each other completely off the circuit. So there's Wolfridsson, really flying. His rally experience coming to tell there. So let's have a look at another Division 1 third heat. On the left, Ivan Opland. Alongside him, Kittelsen, the Swede Carlsen in the middle of your picture. Fransen from Belgium to the right, and Solstrom to your far right.
Yes, Opland was fastest on the second runs, and if he can get fastest on these third runs, he will be on pole, and he makes a brilliant start. He really does. Opland away, a flyer. Jacques Franzen going very well into second place. Sahlström is in third. Then comes Carlson up into third now. Carlson coming through on the inside of Sahlström, I think. Yes, I think he's got him. Gunnar Kettleson is the other car out there. He's a long way back at the moment, but it is the yellow cars coming up very strongly at the front, and it's Opland who leads it, surely. Opland, I think, leads this one as Sahlström drops back now into fourth place. As Carlson has come now into second. Franzen's gone back to third. Sahlström is fourth. Kettleson is fifth. That's the way they come. And Opland leading up their hill now. And Opland it is from Ingvar Carlson. Kettleson right in there behind the lead escort, that of Sahlström. There is the Toyota Gundersvan's teammate. Ingvar Carlson really has come good this year now and consistently putting in very, very strong performances. The former works rally driver for Mazda from Sweden, now in this Toyota team and going very strongly. Kristoffersson, the team manager, must be feeling very pleased with the way his drivers are performing here this afternoon. And Carlson right in there with the man who leads the championship at the moment, even Opland. Still a good run coming from Jacques Franzen. Franzen, I have to say, is going very well in the wet conditions here this afternoon. The Belgian driver going as well as we've seen him go at any time through the season, leading a couple of fairly fast escorts there. With that one is, of course, Sahlström, but this is Opland. Opland it is. And if even Opland is going to take fastest time on these last qualifying heats in this Division 1 Group N category, he's going to go on pole for the A final. And Opland it still is. Over the brow and down this tortuous descent into this long right-hand corner. Kettleson is dropped a long way back, and it's Carlson really in there, man, the only one who can really challenge now. Ingvar Carlson in second place. Still the Impreza in third place, ahead still of Sahlström and Kettleson. But it is Opland from Norway leading Sweden's Carlson to the checkered flag, and at 2:47.14. That looks good enough for pole position to me, Peter, for the A final.
Superb. Opland in great form, but Carlson's overtaking manoeuvre after a rather slow start. He just tucked himself on the inside and came brilliant round the inside of the right-hander. Let's have a look at Opland's start. Not another car in sight. Franzen cuts across and gives him a nudge up the backside, but Opland hangs on to that, and then Carlson makes his move around through on the inside into second place. We take a break.
The face of the world is changing. With its global presence and advanced technology, it's what the world's coming to. Gold Star. You can feel it. There is a new way of playing the game with grace and joy. So change the game with Grant Hill. Grant Hill shoes by Fila. Stone Age. The dawn of a new age. The age of Clarion Car Multimedia. Clarion Car Audio and beyond.
It's still raining in Norway, but the excitement is going to start drying it out soon, I think. Division 2, third heats, Iversen in pole. Alongside him is an Audi. It looks like Tommy Kristoffersson's, but it isn't. It belongs to a Norwegian called Borkland, and Tommy built it for him, and they're off, Arthur.
Yeah, it is, and it is Iversen who takes an early lead from Verriken. Camille Verriken into second place, Bjorklund into third, and then in fourth place, would you believe it, it's Mads Let Sorensen from Denmark. You're going to be a little bit mad, I think, perhaps to drive in these conditions. Let's see where he goes. But this should be an easy run, I should think, for Martin Everson. There is Sorensen with the red, white and green car. Completing the order is Sune Anderson from Sweden. But this is Martin Everson from Norway. The Glamour Pop Escort Cosworth. I see that the team now have only one Escort Cosworth. I'm told that they have sold their other car to the reigning British champion, Dermot Carnegie from Dublin. Nice little bit of news there for you. Meantime, we can see our friend from Denmark. He's having a lot of pressure coming from Sune Anderson at the back end of the order. This is Borkland as they're on their last lap. And it is Martin Everson coming through to take a very, very comfortable victory, drifting the Escort Cosworth well wide. Young Martin really on fine form. There's the Tommy Kristoffersson lookalike for Bjorklund from Norway. And we wait a long time before we see Belgian driver Kamil Wawrinka heading home. Mads Elect Sorensen and Sune Anderson.
I think you handled that mouthful quite well there, Arthur. As we look now at our next heat. Hansen is sitting on pole position. I wonder if he is going to be in any way saleable in this one. Arthur?
Well, Kenneth was fastest on the second runs, and he makes a very, very good start to lead Eklund, with Skogstad looking on the inside of Eklund, and Skogstad, I think, coming through on the inside of Eklund. But Hansen leads it. The BMW of Ekstrom is the other car out there in fourth place, and a big challenge coming now from Per Eklund on to the race leader, Kenneth Hansen, and that's allowed Skogstad to close in. The BMW is in fourth of Bengt Ekstrom from Sweden. We didn't see much of that BMW in the Netherlands. In fact, I think it had a terminal turbocharger failure during qualifying. Certainly went out in a huge plume of blue smoke on that occasion, but it's back with us today. We're pleased to see it. Newcomer to the sport, this BMW in Division 2. Although the driver, of course, no newcomer to the sport, very experienced driver, as is our race leader. And, of course, like Ekstrom, he comes from Sweden, and he is leading fellow Swede Per Eklund, who is, I think, really at his best in these wet conditions. Thoroughly enjoying himself. International rally driver, now returned to rallycross. Per Eklund keeping right in there with Kenneth Hansen. Skogstad going better, it has to be said, in third place. Nice to see the young Norwegian going well there in third place with the Escort Cosworth. But it is still Kenneth Hansen, and looking quite good, Peter, here, I think, maybe for the A final pole.
Yeah, I mean, Eklund was just so close there, and one little move, and he'd have gobbled up Hansen if he made the slightest mistake. But Hansen's now well in his stride, in control. And who drives better from the front, Arthur?
Well, very few people, I would think, Peter, and Kenneth surely now having got rid of Per Eklund, shall we say, he can now take the line that he wants through the corners, and that incident on the previous lap might have cost him a precious few tenths of a second, which might have cost him pole position, because I think maybe Eklund did slow him just a little bit there, but certainly no problems at the moment. And Kenneth looking very good, the reigning European champion then. Of course, he has won the European Championship in both the divisions, in Division 1 when it was Group A, many times with the Sierra Cosworths, and then moving over to the Division 2 category. And it's a 1:59 there at the moment. Looks like very quick time coming up for Kenneth as he comes through. And Kenneth Hansen is on run a very quick time, I think. This is going to be a good one. They dive down through that dip once again. You can see the rain is absolutely lashing down, which in one sense is good because it keeps the track nice and clean, really. It tends to wash it, Peter.
Keeps the spectators nice and clean as well.
Yes.
I have to say, here in Norway, they sell all the tickets for these events before the event, so it doesn't matter what happens to the weather under there.
No, I think they've got the weather really sussed, don't you? Very big crowd, probably the biggest crowd you'll see in European Rallycross. This must be one of, if not the major motorsporting event in Norway, of course, this one. And Kenneth Hansen leads at the moment. And the organisers were telling the spectators to stand in close to keep all the people in, if we can get them in. And Kenneth takes in a time of 2:43.15. That looks good to me. And Skogstad there in third.
Well, pretty terrible conditions out there.
Absolutely diabolical, to say the least. But it's very much a difficult choice for tyres, and it's very difficult to get from the start line cleanly. Kenneth seems to have managed it twice, yesterday and today, so...
he had a bad tyre choice yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but I think we were even worse, so...
So it's down to tyres again?
Yes, it is. I mean, these are very freak conditions, and normally in rallycross, because it's all the summer, we don't have too much rain, but it's certainly wet enough here.
And it's still wet. Will Gollop's in this one. That's Schanche on pole. Alongside him, the Audi of Tommy Kristoffersson. And you can see it just is not letting up. It is pouring down. And then on the right of the grid, the Silkeline Peugeot of Will Gollop. Tyres, tyres, tyres. That's what Will was telling us.
Yeah, in Belgium, it was the make, Peter. Here, I think it's actually the choice of what sort of tread pattern you're running or what sort of tyre you're running, rather than the make of tyre. And let's see what happens here. And it's Tommy Kristoffersson, early leader, but Martin Schanche's gone away, and Tommy doesn't make the best of starts at the end of it all, as Will comes through into second place. So Martin Schanche leads this one. Will Gollop in second place, Tommy in third. Tommy Kristoffersson, that is. And Will Gollop shadowing Martin Schanche. Will going so well again here, as he was in the Netherlands, of course, until he had that engine failure. And there he is in second place, Tommy Kristoffersson in third. So the Norwegian leads the Brit, who leads the Swede. There in the background, our old friend Kjetil Bolneset once again with the course car, the pace car, whatever you like to call it, the safety car maybe. Just follows these cars round on the first lap. It's a rather uncommon sight in rallycross to see an organiser doing that, but not an uncommon sight to see Martin Schanche throwing a Ford Escort sideways. Very much in control of this one. Pulling away a bit now from Will Gollop. Martin looking to chase hard on that time, of course, remember, of Kenneth Hansen, 2:43.15. That's the time he's got to beat. Watch the clock in the bottom of your screen. 2:43.15 is Kenneth Hansen's fastest time. If Martin can beat that, he'll be on pole position. If he doesn't, it looks as though Kenneth will be. So really Martin getting away now, and Will certainly has no answer at the moment. And what Tommy Kristoffersson, I don't honestly know where he is at all. I think Tommy may have actually stopped. So there we are, Martin Schanche, the man who's probably done more for motorsport in Norway than most of the others all put together.
Well, it's worked, because 25,000 spectators is the total that we've been given so far.
Yeah, indeed, and a lot of them have come to cheer this man on, there's no doubt about that, and Martin rewarding them well here at the moment. But I think the weather conditions may be against him. Maybe Kenneth has just got the edge on times. Once again, I remind you, it's 2:43.15 to beat. Martin still fighting his way around the circuit. Will losing ground all of the time. It really is a one-car race, this one. As Martin comes on his way. I think the track commentator has gone bananas here at the moment, but the sound of things, he's really winding Martin Schanche up as if Martin needed that.
Giving him another couple of horsepower, but look at the rain. It's got worse since the start of this actual race. So within the race, it's got worse, and you can see there's a lot more loose water lying around on the circuit.
Yep, in-car picture there from Martin. Windscreen's nice and clear. Obviously, you can see where he's going. And he's certainly going where he's looking. That's the main thing. As he comes up over the brow once again, he's getting close to that time, 2:43.15. It's coming up, it's got 2:43. Is he going to do it? No! He couldn't do it. So it looks as though Kenneth is going to be on pole.
Well, last time it was Schanche who was on pole 12 months ago, and when he was in Holland last time out, he said that there wasn't going to be a rerun of all the door handling and everything in the final last year. Let's have a look at that final. You can see that Kenneth Hansen got a good start, and Schanche went into second place. Will Gollop's on the inside there, and you can see Skogstad in fourth, but Schanche virtually takes Hansen out, which really isn't on. A lot of people said that maybe some flagging should have gone on at that stage. Hansen then cuts across in front of Will Gollop, who slides down the bank into Barry Squibb. Kristoffersson is keeping well out of trouble there, back in fifth place. But let's look at the front runners here. So Schanche going for it, Hansen chasing him hard. Schanche locks up and drives straight into the Armco, so that allows Hansen through, chased by Barry Squibb. Here is Kenneth talking about this particular final on today's Norwegian television, but we get back to the action, and Kenneth has got bodywork rubbing on his tyre, throwing up a load of smoke. Squibb's in second place, as you can see, and Schanche's working his way back up with the bit between his teeth as he carves past Squibb, but Squibb holds his line and makes Schanche go wide, but Schanche then scorches past him in hot pursuit of Hansen. How long will that tyre last on Hansen's car? So now we see Schanche really angry, pushing, shoving, going left, going right, and the real battle is between these two, and he pushes him hard, goes very, very wide, but not fast enough to get past him, goes over the bank, tries to take the short way through. Squibb taking advantage of all this battling here as Kenneth Hansen makes his car very wide indeed. Will Gollop still in fourth place, Tommy Kristoffersson still in fifth place. At this point, door handling all the way down on the left-hand side of Kenneth Hansen, then he looks for a way through on the inside, leaving the door almost open there for Barry Squibb, who must be watching this battle with complete amazement, I would think, from behind. So it's still going on, pushing and shoving, trying to just knock out the tail end of Hansen to give him that little little bit of advantage, but Kenneth Hansen at this point staying fairly cool. Now he tries it again on the inside, and once again door handling, pushing him wide. There's sparks and smoke and heaven knows what coming off, pushes Hansen so far wide that he then moves into the lead. Hansen in second place with all the bodywork falling off the back of him. Squibb now in third place. Gollop, I should think, well pleased that he's backing out of it in fourth. So Schanche looking battered and dented, now has to see off an attack by Hansen, who repeats the Schanche manoeuvre, moves through on the inside, allowing Squibb through too because Schanche went so wide. Gollop still in fourth place and Kristoffersson still in fifth place. But it's the battle between Hansen and Squibb for first and second. Be interesting if Barry can maybe get past Hansen. It would be his first European Championship win. But have a look at what happened to Schanche. Once again, going very wide. He's got bodywork on that tire. He goes past on the rim, look, bringing a smile to a scrap dealer's face as Kenneth Hansen went on to win that final and, of course, the championship.
Has chosen GT Auto Alarm, security all the way.
The end of Stone Age. The dawn of a new age. The age of Clarion car multimedia. Clarion car audio and beyond.
They're big. They're bad. They're impressive. And they're right here on Eurosport. Dare to take on the Ring Warriors. Thursday, 9 p.m. on Eurosport.
The sky clearing a bit now in Norway for this European Rallycross Championship meeting. And on the grid, we're lined up for Division 1B final. Nearest the camera on the front row is Fransen from Belgium. Alongside him, the yellow car of the Swede, Solstrom. Second row made up with Hunsbeth in the middle, making a brilliant start. And alongside him, Kuipers. But into the front goes the Swede, Solstrom.
Yes, Hunsbeth made a good start, but not as good as Solstrom. And Solstrom leads this one. Who is going to be in second place? It is still Jacques Fransen, surely. I think Fransen has still got that second place. Yes, he has. As I said earlier, this is the best we've seen from Jacques Fransen this year. Hunsbeth's in third, Leinemann is in fourth, and it's a disastrous run at the moment for Jos Kuipers. Kuipers, remember, wants to make the cut into the A final to retain his championship challenge, and he's way down the order at the moment, and at the moment it looks like the Swede, Solstrom, is coming away to lead this one. Leinemann is moving up. Leinemann's up now into second place. There in third now is the Belgian driver with the Subaru, but Solstrom it is who leads this one. Solstrom leading, and Fransen dropping back. So Solstrom it is, Leinemann second. Still you can see Fransen in third place, under pressure now from Ludwig Hunsbeth. Nielsen trails the order. Kuipers has only one car behind him, so it really is a disastrous run at the moment for Jos Kuipers, who is the third car in that gaggle of cars going round in the midfield position. He's going to move up a place, I think. Yes, he does. He moves up ahead there, surely, of Ludwig Hunsbeth, who goes back to fifth position. Still Leinemann in second place. Still Jacques Fransen in third with the Impreza. But Solstrom, everything looking clean about Solstrom. The car looks clean, the driving looks clean and tidy, and this looks like a place on the A final to me, as Lars Solstrom goes on his way. Still in second place there, Bernd Leinemann. Bernd Leinemann, of course, and Kuipers, both drivers who desperately want to get from this race into the all-important A final. But it is indeed Sahlström looking very good at the moment up front. And a disastrous day, Peter, it has to be said for Jos Kuipers, really.
Well, every time Jos Kuipers has been out this season, Arthur, he's surprised us one way or another. And frankly, I don't know whether it's the circuit or the conditions that have flummoxed him this time, but he's surprised us because he's not doing very well.
No, I think it might be the conditions, Peter, because the other Mitsubishis are going very, very well indeed, so one wouldn't think it was the car. Maybe Jos doesn't like the wet, and certainly Sahlström does. He's well clear there. Jacques Franzen still having a good run there in third place, but the German driver the German driver Leinemann, I should say, still there in the second place. Hunsbett is still trailing Jos Kuipers. Nielsen completes the 6 cars. The leader there is still Sahlström. And you can see now that the battle for second place is really warming up, and it looks as though it might change any moment, and I believe it has. It does look indeed as though we've got Jacques Franzen back into second place. We have indeed Jacques Franzen back into second place, and these wet conditions really suiting this man from Belgium. The man who was literally pushing the Nissans at the Netherlands, you may recall, when he got so close. Well, can he close in now on our race leader, Lars Sahlström? Sahlström it is. There he is coming into the frame, our Subaru, and behind him they are all beginning to bunch up a bit. They are really closing up a bit behind Franzen now. There indeed we have Leinemann now being challenged by Kuipers, and Kuipers looks as though he could come through here into third place, and he has. Yes, Jos Kuipers is up into third place. Must have heard what we said about him not being very good in the wet, Peter, I think, and thought to himself, I'll show them. Sahlström is the man really who is showing them as he comes through to take the checkered flag. Lars Sahlström goes on to the back of the A final, and a good run into second place from Jacques Franzen. Kuipers can do no better than third.
Well, Sahlström didn't use his windscreen wipers on that one. Extraordinary. Let's have a look at the results. Franzen second, Jos Kuipers third. He made his way out through the field well, didn't he? Leinemann fourth. Right, let's have a look at the Division 2 B final now. And you can see on the front row we've got Will Gollop, alongside him Iversen. On the second row, the Swede Michael Jernberg, with Ekström also from Sweden alongside him. And on the back row we've got another Swede, Björklund, in the Tommy Kristoffersson look-alike Audi, and alongside him Steiner Joranli in the Vectra, and there's the green light.
And it's Iversen making a very good start, and Will Gollop again a tardy start, and it's Jernberg coming up to challenge Will Gollop for second place, but Will gets it. Björklund is fourth, and the BMW of Ekström goes to the 6th position as the Opel Vectra comes up. It's nice to see the Opel back with us once again for the Norwegian schoolmaster Steiner Joranli, who came into this race by virtue of winning the C final, and he's very look at him going sideways all the way down the track. You can usually expect entertainment with a capital E when you get Steiner Joranli out there. Great to see him back. There he is in 4th place with this quite remarkable motor car, the Opel Vectra, but it is the more often seen Escort Cosworth leading this one of Martin Iversen, with Will Gollop in hot pursuit. Michael Jernberg in 3rd place, Steiner Joranli in 4th, Björklund 5th. And all of those 4 lead cars really do justify a place in the A final, but only one of them's going to take it, as the BMW of Ekström completes the 6 cars, fighting their way around this still very wet circuit. But as Peter was saying, the weather has improved, and once again you can see that the lead driver is the one who does not use his wipers. The others are, of course, because they're getting all the spray and muck thrown up from the car in front. So again, Peter, very, very important to be up there in front, isn't it?
Absolutely, and what a storming, lightning start we got from Iversen. And once Will Gollop got into his pace, he's starting to challenge again. Well, apart from going a bit wide there, but it just shows that he's having a bit of trouble getting off the line again, even at this stage in the season.
Yeah, and Jernberg is really coming up to challenge him very, very hard now. We can see that Jernberg isn't using his wipers, or he wasn't at that point. There is Björklund, and there is the BMW. It's only the cars that are really closely challenging somebody else who are now using their wipers. And Will Gollop still in 2nd place, Michael Jernberg still 3rd. Then the Vectra of Steiner Joranli. Very, very close up there, and the lead it is. Still with Iversen holding the command of this race. But Will Gollop really putting in a challenge now. Will Gollop knows he really has got to win this one and get into the A final if he really wants to keep his challenge and a faint hope of the championship, let alone a victory here today, a faint hope of the championship alive for Will Gollop. But he's coming under a lot of pressure now from Jernberg. Jernberg is really making it very, very difficult for Will Gollop to challenge our race leader, and Will Gollop, if he's not careful, is going to drop a place, and he does. Jernberg goes up into 2nd place. Will Gollop Gollop drops back to third. Everson still leads it. And now Jernberg close as Will Gollop comes down very sideways in third, and Will Gollop has gone off. And there from the inside of the car we can see Wilton's got a vision problem from the inside of the car. That may have been the cause of that problem. He really couldn't see exactly where he was going. It seems to be steaming up inside the car, but it is still Everson leading this one. Jernberg is closing. It really is between these two guys now. Norway versus Sweden in the two Ford Escorts, but it is Everson who comes through to take it from Michael Jernberg. And the Vectra surely has come through to take third. Yes, it has. Ahead of Bjorklund.
So confirmation of those results, and Everson nailing it with a brilliant start. Let's have a quick look at the Division 3 showroom Class A final with Manfred Beck on pole, and alongside him the Dutchman Kokassa. Arthur.
Yeah, and Susan Bergville has won the B final. We'll come on to the back of this. Peter Nielsen has also qualified very, very well indeed, and it is indeed Beck going away to lead this one from Kokassa. Nielsen having his best run of the year. They're in fourth place at the moment. I have to tell you, as this race goes on, that Simon Bales went very, very well to take 11th overall with a good run in the B final. Didn't quite make the cut into this 8-car A final, which is being led by Manfred Beck, the winner from Austria, looking for his second victory of the year. Behind him, the strong challenge in the championship from the Netherlands, Kokas. Jean-Michel Laurent from Belgium there in third place. Fourth place, it looks to me as like might be Peter Nielsen. It is Peter Nielsen surely in fourth place. Then comes Nystrom, the Finn, Lehtinen. Susan Bergvall is in there as well. The lady in red, the red Citroën AX, the reigning champion, of course, in this category, who, like a lot of other top runners this year, is having a very, very difficult season. And as they go away from us, that I can confirm to you is the way they finish this one.
And it's an interesting point here now as they start to drop scores after 8 rounds. So we can see that although Manfred Beck won this event, he had to drop his lowest score, which was 10 points that he scored in Belgium. And so Kokassa goes into the head of the leaderboard, at least for a while. Now then, Division 1A final on the front row of the grid. It's an all Mitsubishi affair with Opland on pole and the Swede Wolfridsson alongside him. Then another pair of Swedes in their Toyotas. Svan nearest the camera, Carlson alongside him. Kittelsen and Solstrom make up the rear end of the grid. There's Opland, who drove just in such a relaxed way. Alongside him, the Swede Stig Olav Wolfridsson in another Mitsubishi, having a tremendous day out. We're on board with Opland. 4 Swedes, 2 Norwegians on this grid, Arthur.
Yes, and I can't help but think that the man on pole, Peter, is going to take this one probably. Opland there with the Mitsubishi, an all Mitsubishi front row, an all Toyota second row, and an all Ford Escort third row. You can't get it much fairer than that. So under starters orders now, and if Opland can take this one, it will be his 5th victory of the year, and of course it will enhance his position at the top of the points chart. He's obviously touching wood that it happens. Norwegian wood, of course. As they come away, it is indeed Opland going into the lead from Wolfridsson. Wolfridsson in second place. The Toyota's coming up behind him, then Solstrom, and completing the order is Gunnar Kittelsen. We ride with Gunde Svan as they come down. The 2 Toyotas really ganging up on the second of the Mitsubishis and trying to force his way through on the inside. There was indeed Carlson. Gunde Svan has gone wide. Gunde Svan's gone off and hit the bank. He rejoins, looking as cool, calm and collected as ever, but he has lost a lot of ground. So we go back to the lead, and it is still Opland leading this one. Carlson is now second. Wolfridsson is in third place, flying high there, ahead of Solstrom, Kittelsen, and there is Gunde Svan in last position. Of course, Gunde Svan is the man who at the moment is lying second in the championship. He'll be really cursing himself for that one. Can he find his way back, Peter, do you think? Can he be as cool, calm and collected and really get back through the order?
Well, it's a much hotter situation up the front there, and I tell you what, Wolfridsson is really pushing hard, and that Toyota is going to, I think, see a Mitsubishi come sliding past it any minute.
Well, whether Wolfridsson gets back into second place or not, one has to say this is a superb European debut for this young man from Sweden there in third place, and it looks as though Gunde Svan has indeed vanished, because we are now down to 5 cars only. There he is. You can see a tyre is down. Gunde Svan is in trouble. He must have knocked the tyre off the rim when he went off into the bank there, and there is Wolfridsson going sideways and controlling it, but allowing Solstrom to come through. Well, that was tremendous stuff. Really brilliant to watch that way, to see Wolfridsson drifting that car through the corner. He managed to control it, but he lost a position. He lost a position, and now you can see that Solstrom is moved ahead. but not for much longer, I think, as they come down towards us. The leaders having gone through. Solstrom under a lot of pressure from Wolfertson, and Wolfertson has been passed also by Kittelsen, but now he's fighting his way back. He's fighting his way back. Can he come back to it? And there's a tremendous battle going on behind these two lead cars. There is Opland leading it. We can see Carlson is now still in second place. There's Opland. Carlson in second, and who is going to be third? Don't know what Opland was doing then, waving to the crowd, I would think. Certainly nobody else to wave to, because there's nobody else near him. On his last lap, he feels he's really got it, but look at this battle here, and we can see that Wolfertson has indeed fought his way back to third. Kittelsen is fourth. Solstrom is fifth. There are the leaders through. Here comes this battling duo back towards us. And can Solstrom pull anything out of the bag here? We got Kittelsen back. Kittelsen's back into third, but he goes wide. He goes wide, and Wolfertson and Solstrom come through, and Kittelsen goes back to the end of the order. Well, it may not have been too good up front as far as action was concerned, but it was all action at the end of it. And there, indeed, Peter, is indeed Opland coming through to take a victory.
Well, I don't know how good your maths are, Arthur, but he's jumping around inside his motor car because Opland, I can tell you now, looking at the points, has won the European Championship. Gunter Svan, even if he wins all of the next races in the season, can only score a total of 142 points. And Opland has got, as you can see there, 147. This year's European champion. That's in Division 1, but in Division 2, there's still a lot to be fought over.
From pole, how are you going to get away from the local hero at that start?
That's difficult to say, but the easiest way is to be first in the first corner. So, but we never know what's happening in the second one either, so we'll see. But it will be quite exciting final, I think.
Well, we hope so. Here's the layout for it. Hansen on pole, in red Citroen, alongside him Schanche. Behind them, we've got Tommy Kristoffersson, and they're off with Eklund alongside them, and what a mess up there.
Oh, yeah, Hansen made a terrible start. Hansen made a terrible start indeed. Skogstad managed to find a way around him, and Kenneth has got going again. But Martin Schanche leads this one. Tommy Kristoffersson in second place. Well, Martin really has had this one handed to him, I think, at the moment. And the thing is now for Kenneth Hansen, he's either got to finish second or he needn't bother at all, really, because lowest scores are now being dropped, and Kenneth's lowest score is a third, 15 points for a third, and he has to drop that. So to improve upon his score, he must finish higher than third. So if Kenneth doesn't get in the top two, then he's not going to add anything to his score whatsoever. For Martin Schanche, it's a different story, but Kenneth is having a go, but Martin Schanche leads it. Martin Schanche, well, this is a fairly anticlimax, I think, to the meeting, particularly after the final that we saw here last year. But Martin Schanche well clear up front. There is absolutely no one to challenge him. He can drive for Andy just as he pleases. Tommy Kristoffersson has to be said, a brilliant second place from Per Eklund in third. Then comes Martin Everson, the winner of the B final, who's made up a couple of places, as you can see. Skogstad behind him, and Kenneth Hansen last. And it's not often we see Kenneth last, Peter, in an A final.
Well, it was extraordinary. I think he probably stalled on the grid there because, I mean, he was all set and ready to go, and certainly he wouldn't have had a lapse in concentration, not that man.
No, well, he's certainly not going to add anything to his score here, and if Martin can win this one, there's sparks coming from Martin's car there, I do believe, as he went round, but if Martin can win this one, then he's going to lower the gap to just 1 point between himself and to Kenneth Hansen going into the next round in Finland.
Well, you say that's disappointing for here in Norway, but I tell you what, it's going to make the rest of the season very exciting.
It certainly is. It certainly is. It's certainly going to be between these two guys now, because I don't know if any of you have wondered where a couple of our regulars are today, Barry Squibb and the man from France, Jean-Luc Payer. Well, neither of them had actually entered this event, so they haven't had problems and dropped away the wayside. They didn't actually come. And with Jean-Luc Payer not coming here today, of course, his chance of any success in this championship are literally out of the door now, but very much in it are Martin Schanche. Martin coming on his way, his lead increasing all the time over Tommy Kristoffersson. There is Tommy coming through. Tommy Kristoffersson, lots of puffs of black smoke coming out of Tommy's car. Now that's something wrong with the mixture on the car, maybe, over rich, but Tommy Kristoffersson is dropping well into the clutches of Per Eklund now. Martin Schanche, meantime, is absolutely dominating this one, Peter, and it's one of the most boring finals I think we've had this year.
Yes, but just think about the rest of the season, Arthur. And Kristoffersson, unfortunately, has got a terminal problem and has had to pull off.
Yeah. Hard luck for Tommy, so that's going to put Per Eklund up into second place. That's going to be his best result of the year. And I think his best result since the beginning of last year when he took a second in Austria in the opening round in 1994. So that would be his best result so far this year. But Martin Schanche has got everything before him in one sense, except the rest of the competitors. A victory and second place enhanced in the championship is just going to be 1 point between himself and Kenneth Hansen at the end of this one. Really is the easiest victory I think that Martin has ever taken as he comes through once again, and Martin Schanche has indeed won it, and he is absolutely over the moon about it all, and why not? And there in second place, Per Ekman, third place, Martin Iversen, challenged at the end of it all, but not overtaken by Bjorn Skogstad.
Well, that's third place for Martin Iversen. It's in fact his second third place in a row, and that increases his points in the leaderboard. He's now up to 7th place, but this is the top 6 we got here, and just 1 point in it at the top. So as we move on to Finland, join us again next week for European Championship Rallycross.